Passenger Rights is advocate and founder of Air Passenger Rights, Gabor Lukacs. Gabor, thanks for being here. Always good to see you. Let's start with this. What are the main concerns that passengers have right now?
The biggest concerns passengers have is that WestJet is not rebooking them in accordance with the law. We have seen passengers who are supposed to fly today or tomorrow being rebooked more than 48 hours in advance, in the sense of being offered a flight on Thursday, which is outside a 48-hour window that the air passenger protection regulations permits, and WestJet is not rebooking them on competitor airlines, even though that's what the law requires. We have also seen passengers who are being offered a rebooking on a flight which is already canceled. WestJet should know that the flight is canceled because they canceled flights until August 5th, but the passenger is seeing still a rebooking message for the flight which no longer exists.
Gabor, spell it out for us. If someone's WestJet flight has been canceled because of the strike, what are their rights and what should they do first?
If your flight is canceled, the most important right that you have always, regardless of where you go, is the right to be rebooked. So WestJet in this situation required to rebook you promptly on one of its own or partner airlines departing within 48 hours of the original departure time. And that has to be the next available flight. So they have to look at all flights that they have and their partners have and look at the first one that departs as soon as possible, next available flight, and get you a seat on that, even if it is a business class seat. If it is not possible, then they have to buy you a ticket on a next available flight of any carrier. And if it means an Air Canada business class ticket, they have to buy you that. And if it means a flight today, because WestJet's next flight is in 5 days, then they have to do it today. They cannot delay things, and they have to do it right away. The onus is on WestJet to rebook the ticket, and to do it quickly. So if they don't get back to you, I would say within 3 hours of the cancellation of your flight, I would go and buy myself a ticket on a different airline on the basis that WestJet has broken its obligation to provide alternate transportation, and therefore you're doing what is reasonable and rebooking yourself. And then once you are back in Canada, or once you have finished traveling, you send a bill to WestJet and tell them you have to pay for it.
What kind of mistakes do you see passengers perhaps making during an airline strike that could cost them money or affect their rights?
The most common mistake is believing what the airline says as the source of truth when it comes to your rights. Often airlines mislead passengers, and we have seen that WestJet has currently an outstanding interlocutory injunction from a British Columbia Supreme Court judge against misleading passengers about meals and accommodation caps, for example. So misleading passengers is a common problem. The most important rule is don't accept a refund from the airline at this point unless you're absolutely sure that you don't want to travel. Because once you accept a refund, you are forfeiting your right to alternate transportation and to meals and accommodation, other compensation that are also available, mind you, if you're traveling internationally. What I described about the right to be rebooked is just a basic right that exists even if you travel within Canada. And our air passenger protection regulations are quite broken compared to what the international situation is. But if you travel internationally, then you're also covered by additional instruments, the Montreal Convention, which is part of the law books in Canada. And under the Montreal Convention, the airline has to pay for meals, accommodation, lost wages, and even non-refundable tickets or activities at a destination that you miss as a result. So you have far more protection. And lastly, if you fly back to Canada from Europe or the UK, then the airline also has to pay you a lump sum cash compensation for your inconvenience, because in Europe, they long ago understood that when the airline's own employees go on strike, that's something the airline as the employer is responsible for.
Okay, this is all excellent information for people to know. Gabor, thank you very much for all of this.
Thank you very much for having me.
That is advocate and founder of Air Passenger Rights, Gabor Lukacs.